What's going on, Legionnaires, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. And if you're new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, and make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out. Now, to kick off our Marvel Wednesday, we're going to start it off with some X-Men, going into the X-Force issue number 18. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with X-Force or anything going on with the X-Men line, go ahead and check out the link in my description and at the top of this video. It'll get you completely caught up on everything that's going on with the X-Men line. And be sure to check out the other videos we have coming out today. We got some King in Black tie-ins, and then later on today, we're going to be going over issue number 1 of The Black Knight. This is written by Benjamin Piercy. Artist is Gary Brown, and as we all know, the head of X is Jonathan Hickman. And with that being said, let's get into this breakdown. Now in this issue, something is stalking the shores of Krakoa. Not really knowing what is going on, Kid Omega was dispatched to investigate some kind of cruise ship thing, and he ended up dead. And so he's missing memory of his death. Between the Cerebro backups, Quentin and his girlfriend, Phoebe, are on the case to clear Krakoa's name. And when the surviving victims started showing up with Kid Omega's fingerprints on them, they realized this is much bigger than they realized. And this is where our opening panel takes us to Black Tom. And he's chilling, relaxing, having a nice little nap in the forest. And this is when a purple mist starts to make its appearance. And this is when Black Tom sees a shadowy, almost ghost-like figure out in the distance. And as he makes his way closer to this thing, he realizes that it's not something to tangle with. And this is where we see Black Tom swallowed up by the green and taken under into the vegetation. Now this is where we pick up at the Green Lagoon. And we have Sage sitting at the bar, pretty much in an extremely drunken stupor right now. Realizing that she's had so much to drink, she goes to leave, walking away from the bar, turning around to talk to the bartender, only for the bartender to be a hideous blob of a monster. I mean, this is Blob, the bartender right now anyway. But this vision quickly goes away, and she realizes that something is wrong. And then we're taken to the summer house on the blue area of the moon. And we have Jean and Wolverine sitting here having a conversation. And really what happens is Jean starts hitting on Wolverine, gets very close to him, and then she kisses him. But then she pulls away with her face bitten off. And Wolverine, a hideous monster, seemingly the one that bit her face. But then this vision quickly fades away. And this is when Cyclops enters the room, and Jean's really confused, realizing that this really didn't happen. She doesn't know what's going on. Then we're taken back to Krakoa, and we see Phoebe and Kid Omega. And as they fly through Krakoa and make their way to the point, they're having some conversation, but they get stopped dead in their tracks because they see Beast laid out, nearly dead. And this is when we see Sage come out of the shadows, letting us know that he had suffered a stroke, a massive and debilitating one. And Phoebe asks the question, why haven't you taken him to the healing gardens? But Beast and her have an agreement. And she says, you know, you can question me all you would like, but it'd be really faster if you would just download my thoughts. And Sage is really the one that recognized the foreign intrusion, and she had hurried over here to inform Beast of a possible psychic threat. One that doesn't need to travel through gates or across the ocean to find them. One that assaults their minds. And there's no cameras at the point, so there's no way of finding out exactly what happened here. And this is when Beast whispers something into the ear of Kid Omega. And with his abilities, he gets like a telepathic subtitles, if you will. And so this is where they take Beast to the Shadow Room to help project and give some kind of analytics to exactly what happened to him. And this is when we dive into exactly what Beast is trying to show us. And it shows us Beast and Sage sitting here having a conversation. And she's calling it a night, heads out the door, and he kind of, just falls asleep right there on his desk. And waking up, he finds himself in a purple, fiery hell landscape. And he's being essentially humiliated in front of a bunch of classmates at a young age. And the teacher is a hideous monster very closely resembling Kid Omega. And this is when they all realize and, really confirm what the thought has been. Is that this monster that is plaguing everyone, it's Kid Omega. All the data indicates a corrupted but underlining vocal match to Kid Omega. And the Brave Wave frequencies pointed to be intrusive influences that is directly comparable to his power set. And Kid Omega takes this extremely hard. Because at the end of the day, this is a person he strives not to be. And this is when Beast kind of starts to freak out. And he's trying to say something. And he's telling Kid Omega that he wants to be killed. And Kid Omega takes off. He was just saying he doesn't want to be this person. He's not going to kill anybody. And this is when Sage just cracks Beast's neck. And lets him know, they had an agreement. That's why she didn't take him to the healing gardens. They know too much information. A compromised version of their bodies is like a damaged hard drive full of invaluable information. It's not worth trying to keep it chugging along. Best to go back to the immediate backup as soon as possible. And then we're taken to Sunset Cliffs. And this is where we see Phoebe and Kid Omega sitting on the cliffside, talking about what they're gonna do next. Possibly, trying to get the assistance of Jean Grey and maybe some of the others. But at the end of the day, Kid Omega realizes this is something that they need to take care of on their own. And he knows how to do that. Because right now, this thing, it's waiting out there. It knows exactly how to find them. When they're dizzy or drunk, when they're really at their weakest and most fatigued, is when this thing strikes at everybody. And so he believes it's waiting in the astral plane. Kind of like a dream dimension. And so his thought process is he's going to go into this astral plane with Phoebe anchoring him to the other side. And if something bad happens, she can cut the cord and release him from this dimension. And so they go ahead and they try this. And we see Kid Omega in his absolute nightmare. Going through this, realizing, not really realizing what happened. This is when he turns around and sees the corrupted version of himself. And we see Phoebe frantically struggling to try to bring him back. Because she cut the cord and he is still in there struggling. Seeming to have a seizure, foaming at the mouth. And that is where this issue will end. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. As always, I've been praising the X-Men line for quite some time. Outside of New Mutants, just because, it's a good line. It's just not a story for me. But outside of that one, I have enjoyed all of the X-Men lines so far. Especially these X-Force lines. These have been exceptionally good and almost running like a Halloween special is what I love about it, because we're in the middle of March and we're getting, mostly abandoned cruise ships that look like they're haunted. We have this corrupted version of Kid Omega haunting everybody's dreams. It's a great horror issue that they've been playing at, and I absolutely adore it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and until the next breakdown,